So podcasting remotely can be challenging, and getting started can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. Zencastr's all-in-one, web-based solution makes the process quick and painless, the way it should be. And we've been using Zencastr basically from the beginning of this podcast. And if you know us, you know we're obsessed with quality, and Zencastr provides crystal clear sound and gorgeous HD video. Not to mention it's easy to use, which is a huge bonus for our guests. There's nothing to download, nothing complicated. They just click on the link and we all start recording. Zencastr is all about making your podcasting experience easy, and with everything from local recording to automatic post-production tools, you don't have to leave your browser to get the episode done. And we want you to have the same easy experience that we do for all of your podcasting and content needs. So if you go to zen.ai/GleeOnTheRocks and enter the promo code GleeOnTheRocks, you'll get 30% off of your first 3 months using Zencastr. That's zen.ai/GleeOnTheRocks. And it's time for you to share your story. Hello, welcome to another episode of Supernatural on the Rocks. I am Emily.
And I'm Mandy.
And you can find this podcast basically wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, the internet. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, probably not Reddit, I don't think. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/GleeOnTheRocks. We're partnered with our sister podcast, Glee on the Rocks. You'll find a ton of bonus content, some bonus episodes where we talk about all sorts of stuff with fandom and stuff that we like, just all sorts of fun extra content for our listeners. So you can find us there.
If you would like to request some supernatural content, if you have specific themes or, anything like that about supernatural and you want to join our Patreon, let us know.
One of those bonus episodes is our little ongoing miniseries, That's My Ship. And one of those episodes is me going on for, I think, 45 minutes about Destiel.
Yeah, that is really the origin story of this podcast.
Yes, it really is. So really, we took the ship and then backtracked into this podcast. So if you have any interest at all in Destiel, you can start there and then come back to this podcast. But since you're already here, you might as well listen to episode 5 of Supernatural on the Rocks, where we're going to talk about season 5 of Supernatural. And this is, in many ways, it is kind of the original series finale of the show. It has a lot of series finale themes. It has a lot of series finale plot ending devices, a lot of tone. Obviously, that didn't happen, considering there are 15 total seasons to the show.
It so very much didn't happen.
It very much didn't happen. But as we've talked about before, the creator of the show did discuss that he had anticipated the show, Eric Kripke, that is, really planned for this show to only run for 5 seasons in his original concept of Supernatural. So in some ways, this season feels like a series finale. Obviously, at this point in the show, they knew it wasn't going to be the finale, so there are cliffhangers still, but I think that original intention, you can feel it in how these episodes run.
Yeah, like you said, there are a lot of themes that feel like they would have made a very fluid, organic ending to what they had set up so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of those big themes in this entire season, it's Sam versus Dean now, where in the first 3 seasons, it's really Sam and Dean versus the world, and in seasons 4 and 5, it's been Sam versus Dean versus the world. And that really comes to a head in these episodes where they have become the vessels for Lucifer and Michael, and they are battling out this biblical end of days, dark times, apocalypse battle brought to Earth. And obviously, as the main characters, it has to be them.
Yeah. And the show is really trying to give it stakes. Like, we
Mhm.
see a lot of loss in their life because of this.
Yes, they do. We're gonna
Yeah,
talk about it and complain bitterly about it.
so much complaining, yes.
So the loss of some of these characters really changes the tone, I think, because they have been with us for several seasons, and it does set a precedence, I think, for future seasons where characters that I think are somewhat beloved, maybe not to the entire audience, but to some of the audience,
Yeah.
become disposable. Spoilers, I guess. Like if you're listening to a recap podcast, you have probably seen the show. But this is
Yeah.
Joe, this is Joe and Ellen who are no longer with us on Supernatural. And
Yeah.
it sucks because they're so great. There are not a lot of female characters on Supernatural. And I
No. I'm the newbie to the podcast,
Mhm.
to the experience, but season 5 is the one that I remembered most clearly.
Mm,
And I remembered being so upset
yeah.
at their deaths, and that really kicked off the wow, Supernatural is really not going to let women live.
Yeah. Yeah, and characters that were not just one-offs in an episode.
Hmm.
They weren't the victims of the supernatural event, right? Joe and Ellen weren't the opening scene victims. They were hunters. And then they were killed off so that Sam and Dean could complete a mission that didn't
Yeah.
actually end up going anywhere. It didn't work.
Yep.
And that sucked a lot. There were other people who maybe could have taken their place. Like, why did it have to be the two women? I mean, we'll get
Yeah.
to this.
We'll get there.
We'll go through the episodes like we usually do, and that is kind of our format here. If for some reason this is your first time listening to this recap podcast, we kind of like to go through the episodes as if we're watching the show, and well, because we have watched the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is something about season 5 here that it does feel like we kind of take a turn from classic Supernatural 1.0, dark, gritty, on film. Those seasons 1 through 3 really have kind of a dark,
Yeah.
gritty, the lighting's very particular, the cinematography is very particular. If you look at Tumblr, for instance, and you see these gift sets
Yeah.
of old school Supernatural, they have a very distinctive look. And I think that's the look of Supernatural that people love. Those Hookman episodes they look
Mhm.
like old classic horror films. And right around here you really start to lose it when how much higher can the stakes go here where the apocalypse has kind of
Yeah.
happened.
I mean, which again goes back to feeling like this would have been a conclusion. Like, the
Mhm.
apocalypse really does feel like, oh well,
The end.
this is it.
Mhm.
These are the stakes. Like,
Yeah.
whole world in the balance or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those are some things we're going to touch on here in this episode. We have brother versus brother, fate and destiny versus free will, and that's actually something that is going to carry through the rest of Supernatural. They start calling themselves Team Free Will.
Yeah, we get the first mention of that in this season.
Mhm. And as you said, people sacrificing themselves for Sam and Dean's mission.
That
You
becomes
know?
quite a plot point with Bobby,
Yes.
who is the closest thing they have to family in this show at the moment.
He gets done dirty a couple times.
Yeah.
And the arrival of bisexual Dean Winchester,
Oh yeah.
which is a hill we're going to die on. So if that's a hard no for you, this might be a hard podcast to listen to. Just as a trigger
Yeah,
warning.
we're going to be strongly flying that bi flag.
Yes.
Now.
Florida's Don't Say Gay bill doesn't apply
No.
to this podcast. And if you would like to donate to charities in Florida to get that motherfucker ousted, feel free.
Please do. Yes.
We'll help you.
Do it for gay babies, Cass and Dean.
Do it for Cass and Dean.
I mean, it's not going to help them. They're fictional, but the money will help someone.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I guess we'll rewind it back to the first episode of season 5 here and get rocking. We pick right back up as these early seasons are wont to do, where the finale left off. We've got Lucifer, Mark Pellegrino from Lost. Out comes the gates of hell have opened and Lucifer has arrived.
Do you wish that they had made Lucifer a little more of a mystery? it really comes down to, I guess, Michael and Lucifer, but I feel like generally God and Lucifer are like at odds.
Mm-hmm.
But God is very much a mystery in this.
Sure. Yes.
Whereas
Mm-hmm.
like Lucifer is the enemy that they know. And they learn a lot more about him as the season goes on.
Yeah, that could have been very interesting to have Lucifer be an unknown for longer.
Maybe it's also just because I really like Mark Pellegrino, but something about the known quantity makes it seem less intimidating.
Yeah, that's a good point. If it was to make it a human story, to make,
Yeah.
Lucifer, they do try to get us on his side at the end.
Yeah.
Um, they
And
try to make Lucifer's side more realistic, more humanized of
yeah,
why.
they're definitely like humanizing is the perfect word for it.
Yeah, yeah. And, to be fair, if you've read any of
Mhm.
the Christian mythology behind it, like, God does do Lucifer super dirty.
Oh yes.
It's real kind of mean, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you said no to me for no like, down to hell with you," for
Yeah.
very little reasoning whatsoever. It is a book designed to explain why bad things happen to people, so you just personify evil in the form of a person and then or an entity, so then anyway. The show's trying to do a lot of heavy lifting with
Yeah.
this, and so is the Bible, but anyway.
I mean, of the two, I prefer the supernatural version.
It's like, wait, Bible on the rocks.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
We would get canceled so fast
So
for all of the
fast.
incest and violence.
Yeah, oh
And
Jesus.
yeah.
Uh-oh. Can't do that.
Not family friendly content there.
Nope. No bueno. Yeah, that could have been a really interesting way is to not know what we're dealing with until later. Of course, then we would have had to start the episode with either Becky writing Wincest fanfic
True.
or Meg 2.0. So there's a lot that kicks this episode off.
And in the episode, they are trying to find Michael's sword.
Yes, that is the other brief mystery, is they are looking for the sword of Michael's sword, the Michael sword. There's a lot of...
It doesn't get a cool name, right?
It does.
Michael's sword.
Yeah, it doesn't get a cool name.
Yeah.
Bobby's super pissed off at Sam for what he did around the apocalypse, which,
that's fair.
That was fair. I do find it interesting that Dean thinks that his dad is going to have the sword of Michael, like, in his storage locker.
Yeah.
Bobby is very briefly a demon. Could have been cooler if that lasted longer, but all right. There's a lot happening. But it does not take us long to find out that Dean Winchester, the other protagonist of the entire show, is the Michael sword. He is Michael's perfect vessel. He is the chosen one. He is Harry Potter. Obviously says no to being possessed by an archangel.
But it still sets up that Dean versus Sam.
Yes.
Like opposite sides of the heaven-hell coin.
Yes. Sam is Lucifer's perfect vessel. Dean is Michael's perfect vessel. And thus they must kill each other, for neither can win while the other survives. For so it is written, there must be a battle. That is the other piece of this lore around Michael and Lucifer, is that they have to fight over Earth. They can't just like shake it out. They have to do it, which is another piece, I think, of the free will versus fate and destiny theme that runs through these seasons, is that so it is written, there has to be a battle. Like, does there though? Can't you guys just like fucking chill for a hot minute?
And then we have Cass there to exemplify how angels don't always have to do what they're written,
No, sometimes angels set their sights on a hot piece of human ass. A little free will gets shaken loose. Power of love style. Yes, Cass does stand in between human and angel.
And we get in the course of the season, they show us other versions of Cass.
Mm-hmm.
Like what free will could do to Cass.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently just make him really horny.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting to see him as the balance between Sam and Dean / heaven and hell.
Mm-hmm. It just gives Misha Collins other things to do besides
Yes.
wearing a trench coat.
A chance to not destroy his vocal cords.
Yes.
Occasionally.
Occasionally, yes. He does get to mark his territory in this episode with the little Enochian protection sigils on their ribs, which is, who wrote that and didn't think that that was super gay?
They knew what they were doing.
I mean, come on, guys. If you forgot, at the end of season 4, Cass was super dead, and now he is not. He does not know how he is no longer dead, and then he just leaves because Cass. I should have taken a tally. I don't remember how many times Cass dies in this season. It's at least like 3 times.
A lot. Yeah.
And he just keeps getting brought back.
Yeah, they hit that reset button on him quite a few times.
They really do. I don't know if he's died more times than Dean, but it's close.
We love boyfriends who die together.
Yes.
Yep. As long as they come back. That is the important part, supernatural writers.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, so these episodes kind of keep rolling in. In the next episode, Cass is off to search for God, who is currently still... Why not?
Yeah.
Easy to do, because he thinks that God will be the one to defeat Lucifer, because in millennia he's been absent, but now he's gonna do that.
His desire to believe that God still cares is endearing.
Yeah, it's cute. He has no proof whatsoever, but it's cute.
No.
There is kind of a case in this episode. There's a town that's seems like it's been overrun by demons at one point, but really the town is hallucinating that there are demons and everyone's just killing each other over it. Meanwhile, Bobby is like super grumpy about getting stabbed and that he can't walk.
He has points.
He has a lot of points. It's really convenient that Cass is cut off from heaven's powers and that he can't heal him. Like, he's gonna go find God, but he's not connected to heaven to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his ability, like what angel powers he can access and what he can't, is very convenient to the storyline.
Yeah, it's not a Deus Machina, but it is. It is one of those tropes of like, so it works sometimes, just sometimes. And Cass does tell Dean, so Dean just wants to straight up kill Lucifer, and Cass tells him that that's like super dumb, which is the kind of banter that I'm here for.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people don't tell Dean that sometimes his stuff is just bad. But Cass does want Dean's super precious amulet because he says it'll burn hot in God's presence.
Like a God detector.
like a god, yeah, a little beeper. Dean's been wearing this thing for like 25 years. It's super important to him, and he just hands that right over to Cass.
That's some trust.
Yeah. I just think these are important things to point out, that since seasons 4 and 5, this has been a thing between them, and the audience is just supposed to pretend like they're friends. But it's fine. Yeah. I just think that it's important as we progress in these podcast episodes that we point these things out as we go, because I think sometimes people forget that it's been happening the whole time. So we have this town allegedly overrun by demons, but not. We have Rufus reappearing.
Yeah, we have Rufus, and we have Joe and Ellen.
We have Joe and Ellen, our other favorite hunters. Yeah. We also have another horseman of the apocalypse. War is in town. And do you know who it is?
Wait, who is it?
Titus Welliver.
Oh.
From Lost.
Yeah.
I was so mad that he and Mark Pellegrino did not have a scene together. Like, it hurt my soul that they were not in a scene together, because the Lost reunion would have just like...
Yeah. Now I'm sad about it.
Yeah. Because they were Jacob and the Man in Black on Lost, and like just a look across a void, just a little like taste of something. And they're such good friends that it would have been just a nice little like delicious.
One other just little like bit of trivia. Apparently the bridge that they're on going into town is the same bridge from the finale of the series.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm assuming that's just like, there's a lot of reuse locations because Vancouver, but
I like that.
I liked that one. Yeah,
I like going back to the same places. I mean, they've crisscrossed the entire country so many millions of
Yeah,
times that obviously they'd have to go back to some of the same places.
their postcard collection is huge at this point.
I hope they have postcards. That'd be so fucking
Uh,
cute.
I guess it would be a shot glass collection for Dean, but
Mm.
that's a little harder to carry around than the Impala.
Every time the Impala hits a speed bump, the whole thing just rattles with glass. That'd be
I want
cute.
that now. Yeah.
So yeah, so you know, every time so War knows that Sam is out there lusting for power. He's off the demon juice, the demon blood, and he's using this power to set the town against each other, including setting the people against Dean and Ellen, but they do manage to grab War and cut his finger off to remove his little ring of power, which he uses to control the town.
I love that they literally have rings of power.
Yeah, I think that's
Like,
weird that a supernatural creature needs a fucking ring of
yeah,
power. Like, what is he without that ring? Is he just a dude?
you would think that the powers be a little more like inherent.
Yeah. If Dean put on War's ring, would he
Yeah,
become the next horseman? Because badass.
plot twist.
Like, how hot would that be if he just stuck that ring on?
Hmm.
So yeah, Sam is out there worried about his demon blood addiction and thinks it's best that he and Dean part ways.
Not the first time one of them has had that idea, and not the last, even in this season.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty common thing with the two of them to break up and get back together because drama, I guess. So in the next episode here, Sam has decided to give up on hunting, but while he's off moping and working in a bar, we do get a Dean and Cass episode. So
Yes,
I'm fine with it.
I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam and Dean have no scenes together in this episode. It
Yeah.
is strictly a Dean and Cass episode on his side of it.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Sam gets to live his busboy dream, I guess.
I guess, yeah. I mean, what happens to Sam kind of sucks because he's out in a town that's like dealing with revelations omens and meets a bunch of hunters that want him to like hulk out on demon blood to destroy some demons who have killed their friend. And it does turn out that Sam's visions of his dead girlfriend Jessica are being fed to him from Lucifer.
Yeah.
So that sucks. And Lucifer really starts playing with Sam, knowing that Sam will eventually get him to say yes to being his vessel.
Yeah, I mean, Lucifer's definitely going like full on psychological torture on him progressively throughout the season.
Yeah, which is actually a great way to do it because
Yeah,
it's not like you're gonna force him. I mean, you can't kill him. Over in Dean and Cass land, we do learn that Cass the angel has never had sex. So Dean's first thought is to get him laid.
sure, Dean. I mean,
sure, Dean. It doesn't work, but ostensibly this scene is about finding the archangel Raphael because Cass believes Raphael knows how to find God. Raphael is he's a bit pissy about the whole thing and tells Cass that God is just straight up dead. It's not really a great episode for anyone. Like, no one comes out of this happy.
No, it's just a great episode as a viewer because we get
you get a little drunk Dean and Cass.
The personal space line.
The personal space line is fantastic. Like,
and Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
Comparing them. Yeah. Just a lot of like nice one-off moments.
Yeah, there's a lot of like classic Dean and Cass banter in this episode. Kind of that standard back and forth, nose to nose. Like back when Cass was really that like soldier. Naive soldier of God who hadn't yet been human. We have the episode that comes up next is The End. I will say the episode titles in this season they're pretty good. This one is just called The End.
They're almost all song references too. Like whoever was titling these really did their damnedest to tie it in. A lot of times the title will tie in with like if they give like classic rock names as like their agents or whatever, because they always do like fake FBI names.
Except when Cass is agent Beyonce.
Yes.
But this is the episode where Dean is in the Croatoan future.
Yes.
We get two Dean Winchesters.
It's a good one.
This is a good one. Yeah, so Cass wants to find the beloved cult to use it to kill Lucifer. Cass's plans really just jump around.
Yeah.
He's really reaching.
He's throwing darts at a wall.
He
He doesn't know
is.
what's gonna stick.
Yeah, I did love the moment of just Cass standing by the side of the road while waiting for Dean to sleep. Just
Yeah.
like at this point, Sam has called Dean to tell him that he is Lucifer's vessel, and now Dean tells Sam that they need to go their separate ways as if they already hadn't. I guess they're catching up with the audience here. But
Yeah.
Dean wakes up in the future because or Zacharias sends him to the future to show him the consequences of saying no to Michael. A dick move,
Yeah.
obviously, but he does get captured by his future badass self in fatigues.
And this episode, this whole setup just hits really different in a
Yeah,
post.
you don't think the Croatoan pandemic from President Palin
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a calm episode to watch where there's no food or water and
Yeah.
people are viral zombies? That doesn't feel good to you?
I did like that some of the things that rang really true were the pandemic details, like hoarding toilet paper.
I know, that was so funny.
It's like, well, someone called that one. Good job.
They really did.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget to hoard toilet paper. Like, you're right.
Mm.
You do need to hoard toilet paper. Fair warning. We do get the pink panties moment in this episode, though.
Yes.
Which, if you're a Supernatural fan who started out by reading fanfic and you were ever confused by like, why are there so many references to Dean liking pink panties? Like, this is why. It's canon. There's so many weird things in fic. You're like, that just has to be like a weird fanon thing. Like, not this one. This one's canon. There's plot in this episode, obviously, but there's also future Cass.
And future Cass is
a horny fucking hippie.
He really is. Yeah. I mean, I kind of like they make an attempt to explain how he ended up that way, but really they just gave Misha some script pages to chew on.
Yep.
And he was like, "Oh, tasty."
Yep, exactly. They were like, just don't shave for a couple of days and wear your own clothes. I love this delightful little shit.
Yeah.
He does not give a fuck. I don't even know what his job in this camp is.
Like, apparently to have orgies.
Yeah, just the lunch orgy.
He's the camp bicycle. Just everyone goes in, has a ride.
Yep. It's
relieves some tension.
I was gonna say it's camp morale.
Yeah.
I don't remember this being part of COVID.
Yeah, we got ripped off on that.
Yep.
That aspect of it. There is some timeline fun here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dean was sent to 2014, which would be season 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things that actually happen in season 9 or 10 work with this, which just surprises me because, like, I'm not used to shows paying that much attention to continuity when they're writing something that they don't think they'll ever get to film. But yeah, Cass isn't an angel in this episode in the future timeline, and in the actual season 9, he's human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
Chuck Shirley appears in this episode. And then after this season, he doesn't appear again until season 10.
Huh. I forgot that.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Actually, that is kind of weird that he doesn't appear again. And so I wonder if they just, like, forgot to... or, like, were they thinking that far ahead? Because, like...
They probably forgot. I'm giving them credit because it does fit really well. And it's kind of fun to see, like, some of the continuity, but it probably is an accident.
Because it's like, he's super important here, and then he just fucking disappears. Yeah.
I also love that Risa is played by Lexa Doig, which she's a, like, sci-fi actress staple. I just love her. And her husband shows up later in the season as an episode character.
Amazing. Keeping it in the family.
Yeah. And in the only 5 actors in Vancouver family.
Yes. I feel that. When it comes to the plot, we find out that future Dean has found the cult. The cult. Well, it is a cult. The cult. And, he still wants to try to kill Lucifer with it. Sam hasn't died, but he did say yes to Lucifer. Because Sam's a little bitch.
Yeah.
And future Dean also wants past Dean to say yes to Michael. But there's no way to know if this is a real future or something that was just planted
Mhm.
by Zachariah, because we have seen in the past that Zachariah can like kind of do anything. So Lucifer's big thing here is that he keeps telling Dean that they will always end up right here at this moment in, what is it, 2014 in Detroit, is that right?
Yeah.
Or whatever time it is at the end. Like this is always gonna happen. So fate versus free will.
And the Croatoan virus is something they continually reference throughout the season.
Yes. So Zachariah brings Dean back to 2009 to bootcut jeans, no virus, but Dean still says no to saying says no to saying yes to Michael, and he reconnects with Sam. So, at this point, we're 4 episodes in to the season, and apparently it is time to lighten things up.
Yeah,
Given-
I really could have used it a little bit sooner.
Yeah, that was a lot for the beginning of the
Yeah.
season. Usually there's something a little sooner because we jump headfirst into our first silly fucking episode of the season.
Yes. It was cracky as hell. It's not the crackiest episode of the season.
It's not, but it's super cracky.
It's pretty good, yeah.
It's amazing. People are being killed by famous dead icons like James Dean's car, little bastard. There's a curse. Someone else gets killed by Abraham Lincoln.
We get a great scene of the woman that doesn't speak English trying to describe Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
That actress just made me laugh. Like she was selling it.
She really was. Turns out then a group of girls claim that their friend was kidnapped by star of the hour Paris Hilton. And I imagine people watching Supernatural on Netflix in 2022 being like, who the fuck is this person? Like, what day player seemed so like, who is this?
Paris Hilton is she really so bad at acting?
Yeah. Paris Hilton was really fucking famous at this time. Yes. That's why she's on this show.
Yes.
Yeah, so it turns out it was a Leshy killing people because celebrities are now being passed as gods, and it was jealous, and not, social commentary in a Supernatural episode about fame and celebrity worship. Some pretty cool deaths though. That was fun.
And also like just top-notch references.
Yes.
Like House of Wax mention.
That was good. That was a pretty good one.
Because Jared was in House of Wax with Paris.
Yes.
So some weird like reality bending there.
A terrible horror movie.
Dean hasn't seen House of Wax. What's the other one? Like a Simple Life mention in the Simple Life was Paris's big reality show.
A Simple Life is the reason we have the Kardashians.
Oh, you're right.
I was actually thinking about this the other day, and that the Simple Life is why we have the Kardashians. Anyway, yeah. So
literally just Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie being rich and famous.
Yeah. And Kim Kardashian was Paris Hilton's third wheeling friend before she was anything else. Yeah. This is why. This is why we're here now. Was that. Just think about that for a second.
What a butterfly effect.
I know, right? If we hadn't let it happen, we wouldn't anyway. God damn it, Leshy.
But yeah.
So, at the end we do get a conversation between Sam and Dean. Dean tells Sam that he was right, that Dean was treating him like a little brother. And he apologized to Sam for not seeing what he was doing. And that he does share some blame for bringing about the apocalypse because he broke the first seal.
Backtracking a little bit from the plot, but I did make a note that another thing that dates the show along with Paris Hilton is the reference to Gen Y.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Gen Y? They got forgotten.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
We're all millennials now.
We're all millennials now. For better or worse. So at this point, the brothers are back in line together, fighting the good fight. They're not going to stay that way.
So that would be boring.
That would be super boring. So we have another kind of silly episode. I believe the children are our future. We've got a series of murders that resemble urban legends and fairy tales. Sort of. Like weird shit is happening. Like people are dying in kind of funny ways. And they track down a kid who, whatever he believes comes true. And weirdly enough, Cass is the one who thinks the kid needs to be offed because he's too dangerous.
Yeah. That's That's a turn there.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Cass. Like, I
Yeah.
think he was just in a bad mood or something.
So is it just me, or is this plot pretty similar to Good Omens?
Very similar to Good Omens. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
powerful kid who can just kind
Yeah.
of believe things into existence. Yeah. You know, the babysitter watching Cujo, and
Yeah.
then she's like scratched her own brains out. And like,
Oh, oof.
I like
Yeah.
the one who dies because of the little electrocutor buzzer thing when you
Oh,
shake his
yeah.
hand. That one was funny.
And then we have Dean getting hair on his palms.
The masturbation joke was so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
love that one. That was amazing. So, you know, this kid came about because his mother was possessed by a demon while pregnant, and then when she gave birth, she put him up for adoption. Cass says that this kid is the literal Antichrist. Now, in this lore, an Antichrist is just like demon spawn.
mhm.
His spiel is cut short when he sits on a whoopee cushion. Um,
That was, yeah.
the timing
I,
there was a little like I think the joke would have been funnier if he wasn't like explaining the plot of the
yeah.
episode.
It was weird timing.
It was very weird timing. But this storyline does like reach forward in time to when we meet Jack, who is the son of Lucifer. And at that point, Jack becomes like Cass's kid. So like what fucking changed? I thought that's kind of an interesting episode. It's not their best.
I was a little disappointed only because I started out thinking it was going to be like straight up Monster of the Week, and then it just
Mhm.
tied back into the myth arc.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I was just really ready for a break, like more
Hmm.
than one episode of a break.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Yeah.
I did love that this kid at the end just fucks off to Australia.
Yeah. The kid is just like, I'm out. Bye.
They want this kid to
Yeah.
join their fight, and he's like, I'm 12. Goodbye. This kind of middle chunk here, we do pop around because now we're back to a monster of the week
Hmm.
of the curious case of Dean Winchester and a poker game where you bet your life instead of money.
Yeah. And Bobby immediately is like, great, I can get out of this wheelchair.
Yeah. Now, you know, he's not a demon. What is he? The whatever this dude is, the leprechaun? I don't know. He's like weirdly
Something, yeah.
Irish. You know, this dude running the poker game here who's gambling in years, he doesn't, really promise that you're healed. You just get your years back. So what
Yeah.
if Bobby ended up young but still
Huh.
unable to walk?
Oh, I don't think he thought that through.
Because, like, I always think of genie wishes where you really gotta choose your words carefully, because otherwise,
Yeah.
it's like in the X-Files episode where the guy wished for a yacht and the yacht ended up in the middle of his house. Like, well,
Yeah.
you didn't specify that it was in the ocean. Obviously, Bobby loses his game and starts to age rapidly, and Dean then steps in and also starts to age rapidly because his death drive strikes again. I did find it interesting. Dean has been playing poker for money for decades to survive, and he managed to
Yeah.
lose this game.
That's either like bad luck or the game was rigged.
Yeah. Hmm. There was an interesting comment about Dean needing to take better care of his heart, but I feel like after he got healed by the faith healer, his heart should be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So that didn't make any sense to me. I mean, it's like a small point, but I was like, no, Dean's ticker should be perfect after the faith healer. I was very sad to see Dean old because he doesn't actually get to age.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, it's the only time Dean
Enjoy
gets to
it
be old.
because you don't see it again.
Yeah.
Except for how he grows old and happy with Cass.
Yes, obviously. Duh.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. Sure. So Sam comes in and saves the day at poker, and everyone lives happily ever after until the next episode, which is changing channels where Sam and Dean get stuck in TV hell.
Oh, this is such a good one.
This is a really good nonsense episode, and I love it.
Yes. Ridiculous.
Mhm.
And exactly the like tension breaker.
Yep.
I was craving.
Yeah, this is. I love this. It opens with Supernatural's filmed before a live studio audience.
Yes.
It has a laugh track. There's a Scooby-Doo sized sandwich, a theme song.
Mhm.
There's definitely a busty Asian beauties porn joke in it.
Yes. A lot of
I love it.
Grey's Anatomy jokes.
Yeah, they're at Seattle Mercy Hospital.
Yeah.
So they have become they wake up or they walk into an alternate universe where they are now the characters of Dr. Sexy MD, Dean's favorite TV show. Obviously, Sam thinks the trickster is at play. Well, they're not totally wrong.
Yeah. Just not entirely right either.
Yes, not entirely right.
I mean, yeah.
I do need someone to explain Dean's face when he walks up to Dr. Sexy.
Boner.
Yeah. Hmm.
Boner.
Hmm.
That's the face.
So Dean does, because he's such a fan, he does recognize that that's not the real Dr. Sexy because he's not wearing his cowboy boots. Because, fanboy.
Yeah.
He does turn into the trickster at this point, and they have to survive 24 hours in the game, and then they'll talk. Yeah, they switch into a Japanese game show, Nutcracker.
Oh, before we leave Dr. Sexy
Oh,
first,
yeah.
I wanted to say that Dean makes a reference during that part of it about a character who's a ghost in the mind of one of the doctors.
Yes.
That is a point. Yeah, that's a plot point from Grey's Anatomy, and
Mhm.
the actor was Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
It was their dad.
Yeah, it was their dad.
Yep.
See what you did there, writers.
So good.
Yep.
That
But yeah,
means somebody on the writing staff is like a fan of Grey's Anatomy
there must be.
to remember.
Yeah.
Well,
That
because
was a deep cut.
there were times when Jeffrey Dean Morgan was playing both roles.
Yeah.
I love it.
Laugh. Yeah.
It's so funny.
But yeah, the Japanese game show.
Yeah. So they're, getting hit in the nuts as you do. Badass Cass finally shows up to try to help them, but, gets sent away.
Of course.
Sam has to do his genital herpes commercial.
Yes. I love that.
Classic. Cass does show up again on a sitcom set, but then gets beat the fuck up, looks gorgeous, and then gets sent away. The trickster shows up again and tells them to say yes to their roles of being Michael and Lucifer's vessel. That, they started the apocalypse and it's time for them to end it. The CSI spoof, amazing.
Yeah.
Sam as the Impala, like Kit in Knight Rider, amazing.
They fit in, I was going to say they crammed in so many solid references
Mm-hmm.
that it was like, there were times when I just rewound it to watch something
Mhm.
like part of it again.
Yeah, I think this is a great episode because it seemed like fun.
Yeah.
This is when the Winchesters realize that the trickster isn't the trickster. He is actually the Archangel Gabriel.
Yes.
Gabriel is trying to end this whole thing. Like, he is tired of the shit. He is tired of his brothers wanting to kill each other, Lucifer and Michael. He wants it done. And he kind of explains that this isn't about a war, but it's about two brothers who loved each other and then betrayed each other. And that's why the Winchesters are the vessels. As if...
What a parallel.
What a parallel. As if two other brothers in history never did this.
Yeah.
Like, could this have never happened at any other time?
Apparently not, since,
the dawn of man.
Yeah, one of the themes they reiterate over and over this season is how, heaven and hell both put things in place just for Sam and Dean to be born.
Okay, Marty Sue.
Yeah.
Aren't we so fucking special? So, Gabriel is trying to peacemaker here. And he's done. Yeah, so that's why he's there. So that brings us to an episode that I don't know that I hate, but I don't like.
I don't like it. I have opinions about this episode.
It's the real Ghostbusters. It is a supernatural convention.
Yeah,
And maybe I hate it. I think maybe I hate it because I hate Becky.
Yeah. I also feel like some people just wanted to make some points in the episode, and they're all bad points.
Yeah,
even when they thought they were doing a plot twist, it still annoyed me.
It does. So this is written by Eric Kripke and Nancy Weiner. So we can't even blame what's her face for this episode.
Yeah.
So Becky uses Chuck's phone to trick Sam and Dean to coming to a supernatural fan convention where people are dressed up like Sam and Dean. There's a LARPing. Honestly, that sounds kind of fun, like using an abandoned hotel, or not abandoned, but like an empty hotel to like pretend to ghost hunt. It was kind of
Yeah,
cool.
that part would be fun.
Like, but again, it's the tone of the writing
Yeah.
that, and maybe it's just that Eric Kripke doesn't get it, or maybe he does and he doesn't know how to express it. It's the problem with writers everywhere where they try to talk about fans in the show. They just don't do it. They cannot grasp. They don't. I just, it
It feels
feels
mean.
so mean. And like Becky should have never been a character
No.
ever. Die in a fire. Sorry to the
Mhm.
actress. We're both named Emily. So like, I feel,
Actress is
but
great. Not her fault. She needed that paycheck, I'm sure, but
I
eh.
so glad you got that paper, but like, get the fuck out. Potentially the worst character on the show? Maybe?
I mean, this episode for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reserve my opinion on the whole show until I've seen it, but
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and say she's probably in the top 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like maybe we can have an entire mini episode
Yeah,
dedicated to TV
the worst.
shows trying to talk about the fans within episodes and why it is never a good fucking idea. Like maybe Community did it okay. I think maybe Community was okay at it. So Sam and Dean show up and they remember Chuck has written Prophet of the Lord, quote unquote, has written the supernatural books as the author Carver Edlund. So there are actual fans within the show of the supernatural books. So all these people are there in plaid and flannel and leather jackets, seeing Chuck as their god to celebrate the books and the characters and to participate in some live action roleplay and to hear Chuck talk and to do other shit. At one point, Chuck does say, though, if you don't like the book, or is it Chuck or Becky? Someone says, if you don't like the books, don't read them. And I was like,
Mhm.
my God, negative fan
That's
criticism. I hate it so
yeah.
much.
There's so much of that in this episode, and I like
Yep.
so little of it.
Yep. I hate that so much. Like, that's not the point. There is a panel on the homoerotic subtext of Supernatural. And again, I hate it so much because it's like, but you put it in the show and then you don't get to mock people for
I
seeing
mean,
it.
I hate it, but I also have to point out two of my main complaints is that there are almost no women at that convention, which
No,
we
none.
know what supernatural
Yes.
conventions look like.
Yes.
Also, are all of these guys really going to a homoerotic subtext panel? Because if so, I want to know what Chuck is writing in these books that
Yeah.
they appeal almost exclusively to gay men.
Yeah. How
It's
is
just
cast described?
you can't fill your convention with just men and then also make fun of fangirls
Yeah.
because you're not showing the audience that you're actually mocking.
Yes. I mean, again, do they not understand their audience? I don't think they do.
Like
Because, like,
at this point, no, at least.
I know. I know. I know.
And this was 2009. Like it's
Hmm.
not like conventions weren't. I don't know if there were supernatural conventions yet,
I think there were.
but in general, conventions like Comic Con was a pretty big thing. Like
Yeah.
Creation was already doing conventions pretty regularly.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think Twilight was at Comic Con 2009.
yeah. See, they just kind of got some wires crossed there.
So for the plot, turns out at this convention where they're LARPing a fake ghost hunt, there are real ghosts because the hotel used to be an orphanage. Which don't go to a hotel that used to be an orphanage. Duh.
Yeah, that
Um,
seems like a bad idea.
yeah. Duh. So obviously, Sam and Dean have to hunt down this ghost who I got a little confused as to who actually killed the boys, partly because I was
I was gonna
seething
say, like,
over.
someone
Yeah.
was it the teacher or was the teacher protecting
A
them?
little bit of both, maybe?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it was a little bit of everything. I kind of stopped caring about who killed the
Yeah,
boys.
yeah. I was just very annoyed with this episode.
Yeah. You know, they had the two LARPers who were most focused on who kind of help Sam and Dean hunt down the ghost, finding a picture on the back of a map. I did love them being like, "You're digging up a real grave? What the fuck?" Like, that was kind of cute because, like, oh shit, this is real. And then it turns out that that couple, those two LARPers, are gay and a couple. Like,
Yeah.
representation, but I.
Not after that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I feel like it is accidentally good representation because I feel like the show wanted us to laugh at those two guys being a couple. I'm like,
Yes.
they actually look like any couple you might actually run into at a convention, but I think we were supposed to find it like
Funny.
Yeah.
And then I was also thinking, like, man, they had a great weekend together.
Yeah.
like they're
so
out
much
there,
excitement.
like, man, they had fun. They did something they enjoyed together. Got a
I
little
want to go
extra
on a
something,
like
something.
weekend long date with someone where we get to meet our like idols that we didn't know really existed
Yeah,
and
they're fucking
have
heroes. Like,
adventures.
yeah.
We do get the first. Is this the first mention of Crowley?
This
Or
is
was
the
that
introduction. No, this is the
the
introduction of
introduction?
Crowley.
Yeah.
Good old Crowley.
I'm going to say that's the only thing I really liked about the episode.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, Crowley, even though he's a little shit.
Crowley is a little shit, but at least he's got like a cool character.
Yeah.
Sometimes his character is like, I don't understand what you're doing. What are you doing? If we remember back to Bella, retconning a little bit, I suppose, that she gave the Colt to Crowley, not to Lilith. So now Crowley has the Colt. So moving into the next episode, well, we meet Crowley in person with Cass watching someone make a crossroads deal with Crowley and just laying a big fat kiss on this dude, with Cass just staring at him creepily. We do also have Joe Harvell in a skimpy black dress playing the victim to get into Crowley's house. So there's that.
That's a thing.
That does happen.
Dean tries to assert his heterosexuality.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that also
Joe's not
happened.
having it, though.
No. Mm-mm. No. I do always appreciate Joe. I appreciate Joe telling Dean to fuck off up until her death scene.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, why? Which is about to happen. So Crowley has the Colt, and he seems to also want the Winchesters to kill Lucifer, because apparently to Lucifer, the demons are just cannon fodder, and he doesn't care for that shit. So Crowley gives them the Colt and then leaves. I do love Cass and Ellen drinking. Amazing.
Yes.
So, this is their kind of last night at the bar before they make a plan, go after Lucifer with the Colt.
Couldn't they have just, like, taken a nice weekend trip to a bed and breakfast instead?
I would have liked that.
That'd been nice.
Dean does strike out with Joe again. Yeah.
They all take a picture together.
They do. It's super cute.
Yeah.
So, they're in this town that is overrun with Reapers, which is how they seem to think they know where Lucifer is. But Meg has appeared, and she has brought hellhounds. They do use hellhounds quite a lot in these early seasons.
Yeah. Like multiple times in this season, right?
Yes, they do. And this is where Joe gets ripped apart by a hellhound.
Yeah.
And this is some bullshit.
It is also, just to add some insult to injury, Joe dies the exact same way they describe her father dying after John used him as bait. They describe him as like holding his like insides together.
Yes, you are right. I forgot about that. What they opt to do is put some bombs together for Joe to like hold the switch and blow up all the hellhounds, but that means she's gonna die anyway.
Yep.
Ellen, her mother, opts to stay back with her because both of them need to die.
I mean, the mother-daughter connection is very sweet and all, but like honestly, if I were Joe, I would have been like, "Mom,
yeah,
get the fuck out."
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not gonna make her feel better in her dying moments to think that her mom is just giving up.
Yeah. I just thought this was like utter bullshit that both of them had to die.
I hate it. I hate the episode. I almost didn't watch it. I was like, I remember what happens. But for the sake
Mm-hmm.
of the podcast, I did watch it and hated it.
Yeah. I think it sucks. Like, why are we sacrificing the two badass women who survived so long without Dean and
Yeah.
Sam
I
to
mean,
die in the same time?
yeah. So yeah, like this episode, apparently they went all out for it too.
Mm.
Because the director said that they had to, they spent $20,000 rebuilding part of a back lot set
Oh,
just to blow it up for the explosion part.
okay.
So I don't know if they were gonna go all out on an episode like the death of Joe and Ellen.
Yeah.
Put your money towards something else.
Yeah, like I guess. So they do find out where Lucifer actually is. Dean shoots him with the Colt. It does absolutely nothing.
This the episode where they tell us what all the cult can't kill, or is that later?
I don't
Aren't there are like 5 things the cult can't kill?
I don't think it's this one.
Okay.
It's certainly not Lucifer.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is and I just didn't write it down.
I'm saying that from memory, and my memory is horrible at differentiating like what happens what episode.
Yeah. That's why I have to take copious notes because I'm like, yeah. So then Lucifer raises death for fun, and the episode
For shit
ends
and gigs.
just for shit and giggles. And the episode ends with Bobby burning the photo of the hunters.
Why burn it? Come on, Bobby.
I know that's some bullshit.
That made me sad too. I'm like, come on,
sad.
they're already gone. Keep the picture.
I know, just keep it. You're gonna want that later. You don't have iPhones. So we move on.
In the process, like in the course of watching the season, I took about a 2-week break from watching episodes after this one.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled getting back into it because
Yeah.
the urge to rage quit again was right there.
I get that. Yeah.
But yeah,
I had to keep going because I was like, no, I can't. I gotta go, or I'll never come back. So after this, as would make sense, they check into a mental hospital.
I mean, I didn't remember this episode at all.
I didn't either.
From the premise, I was like, I'm sure there's something going on here, but also that's probably where they need to be for a while. Get some therapy. Therapy's good.
Technically, they're looking for a former hunter to help them with a case, but really, I think they just need some help. I love this doctor saying that they have a dangerously codependent relationship. Yeah. I love that just telling a doctor their real lives gets them admitted immediately.
Immediately, yeah.
Dean gets called a paranoid schizophrenic with a narcissistic personality disorder and religious psychosis.
It tracks, yeah.
It does track.
I mean, even though the like biblical mythos is actually real for them, it still tracks.
Still tracks. Now, I mean, I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time on this episode. What they're doing is hunting a wraith, and everyone in this episode is not exactly who they say they are. But I think Dean talking to that psychiatrist for a few days was like important because she was like, how do you get up in the morning? And he was like, I don't 3 to 4 hours every couple of nights and drinks 50 drinks a week. Ugh. And that the doctor is concerned with Sam's anger. Dean's response to that was to tell him to suck it up, move on, and move forward.
That's healthy.
And I was like, no wonder we have problems.
Yeah. The name of the episode is Sam Interrupted.
I know.
And the plot follows along pretty closely with the movie Girl Interrupted, which Misha had a role in.
Did he really?
He did. It was a small role, but he did have a role.
Was he like a fetus at that time?
In 1999.
Oh boy, good for him.
Yep.
I'm assuming playing a patient.
I think so.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in a while.
We should watch that movie just to find him.
Yeah. Misha Collins, Girl Interrupt. I'm just going to do some real time Googling and see if he had a name. So he did have a named character. Oh, he's trying to get into Winona Ryder's character's pants.
Oh, well, I understand that.
Yeah. And also happens to be high as a kite.
That makes sense for him.
Thank you, MishaCollins.livejournal.com for informing me of that.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, all right. Are we moving on to swap meet?
We can move on to it, or we could just move past it.
You didn't enjoy that one?
I mean, I don't know. It's a body swap episode that's not sexy. So, like, Sam swaps bodies with the 13-year-old.
We do have a cameo from the same copy of busty Asian beauties from season 1.
Ew.
It's in Gary's, yeah, it's in the 13-year-old stuff.
That's ew.
Yeah.
You don't pass magazines around.
Yeah. I mean, Gary's hanging on to that 4-year-old copy, I guess.
I guess. I don't have a lot about this episode. It does have some talk about, getting Sam's body to Lucifer, but,
It doesn't do much.
doesn't do much for me.
The most noteworthy thing about this episode to me was that a teenager literally died who was close friends with 2 other teenagers, and neither of them gave a fuck about it.
I know.
The end of the episode ends with them just like happy to be back. I'm like, your friend died, literally.
Died.
Like,
Yeah.
dead.
He dead. I think, more interesting is the next episode because it's a John and Mary episode. It does open with Dean getting like an angel devil stripper dance.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird. Because I guess that's how Angel Anna wants to appear to him in a dream. I don't know. It's odd. Yeah. She wants Sam Winchester to die. Because if there's no Sam Winchester, then there can't be a vessel for Lucifer.
Like, I know Sam is the perfect vessel, but like, clearly Lucifer can just make do and take another vessel.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what yeah.
I mean, killing Sam maybe sets the plan back a couple of hours while they scramble to redirect. But I don't think it really is that.
No.
Much of a solution.
No, I don't think so either. So Cass uses a spell to get Dean and Sam back to 1978 because Anna has gone back to kill Mama and Papa Winchester. It really takes it out of Cass, so he's not super helpful. There's some Dean Winchester apologist propaganda happening here.
Yeah.
In these episodes. We get some like John saying that some irresponsible bastard would have had to raise his kid to be a hunter. Yeah, there's just a lot of like Mary trying to get explanations of what's going on, so Dean has to tell her that he's her son, trying to make sure that conception never happens, but it is too late.
Yep.
What's his face? Uriel and Anna show up, and Sam gets stabbed like right in the gut place.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt a little.
It's gonna hurt. There's just like a lot of fighting going on in this episode of various people trying to save and or kill John and Mary. But we do get the Archangel Michael, who possesses John and destroys Anna. And it turns out that Michael's vessel, the pure holy vessel, is a bloodline that goes all the way back to Cain and Abel, the ultimate dual fighting brothers.
Really driving home the brother connection.
Really driving it home. And Michael is going to do whatever he's supposed to do because he's the good son. So there's really no talking to him, which sucks, frankly. But this is when we get the naming of Team Free Will.
Yes. First mention of that. Which definitely became like a motto for fans and those 3 main characters. And we say goodbye to Anna, or Julie McNiven.
Yeah, we get to drop another woman. I mean, I know she's an angel, but she is still in the body of a woman.
And so Supernatural really didn't have a lot of those to spare. I mean,
no.
Just getting rid of 3 in the span of 4 episodes. They were on a roll.
Yeah, they were like, don't need them, don't want them. Yep. Because, like, it's not like Mary's hanging around.
Yeah.
She's not repeat customer in these episodes, so we move on to My Bloody Valentine.
Yes. They were hitting the Jared and Jensen best of with the titles here because, of course, Jensen's in the movie My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, they really were making some references.
They were trying to be extremely in-jokey with a lot this season. Yeah. Like, more so than before.
I think so, yeah. So kind of some, we got some kind of gross episodes here. Kind of cool.
This one is very gross.
Yeah.
I had to turn away from the cold open because I was like, nope. I was literally eating pasta with tomato sauce. I was like, no.
Can't do it.
Bad timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the Cupid episode.
This is the Cupid. It's the second time a Cupid is mentioned, but it's
Yeah.
our traditional
the
fat naked guy who hugs people.
yeah. And like props to that actor because it actually did make me laugh.
I did too. I think it's funny that we have a mention here that heaven like arranges certain couples.
Yeah.
So they're really just going for soulmates in Supernatural. Like,
so wonder who else are soulmates.
Yes. Interesting. Yeah, so some people are dying in some kind of gross ways.
Yes.
Kind of eating themselves to death or eating each
Oof.
other to death. But interestingly, Dean is suddenly not hungry while Cass is eating. So some weird
Cass is
shit.
eating so much.
I liked his line, "I'm an angel. I can stop anytime I want."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, me too, buddy.
Fun fact, Misha Collins is vegan. So they had to make something for him to eat.
Ugh, gross.
He described it as a disgusting concoction of soy ketchup and tomato sauce. I'm like, those were the days before Beyond Burger.
Yeah. Supernatural should have really put some research money into Beyond Burger.
Yeah.
Ugh. It turns out the town is suffering from famine, one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. We have kind of forgotten to mention that, like, the horsemen are, like, harbingers of doom here.
Yeah.
That's why they're kind of around. But famine is, like, starvation from anything, not just food. So some people are starving from love or Beyond Burgers.
And some people aren't starving for anything.
Yes.
Which is something they spend a little time on, Dean not having any particular hunger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dean says that he is well fed. He wants what he wants, drinks what he drinks, has sex when he wants it. I think that is one way to describe Dean.
Yeah.
But I also think he is emotionally devoid of a lot of things. I think he is starving for a lot of affection. And I think that was a missed opportunity there.
Love, affection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Genuine companionship.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how they would have approached that without without making it like a big thing. But yeah, I mean, I get what they were trying to say, even though Dean hasn't really gone after women in a while.
But yeah, he really hasn't.
You know.
They drove that hard for a few seasons and then just kind of, which, like, granted, he does have better things to do, but also it's just funny who came into his life.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly
he tried a little bit with Joe, and I can definitely see, like, she did just die, but it's not like he tried that hard. He has someone else.
Yeah, someone else. Yeah.
He gave him a necklace. He got a tattoo. I do love the actor who plays Famine, though.
Yes.
Fucking creepy.
He also, another little tie-in here, he wore the same costume as he did on an episode of The X-Files.
Perfect.
Season 8, episode 19 of The X-Files alone.
Love it.
Yeah, same costume.
If you've got a typecast away. So obviously Sam is hungry for demon blood. So Dean and Cass have locked Sam into a bathroom to try to keep him away from some demons, but that doesn't work when the demons break Sam out of the bathroom and he goes hog on demon blood while Cass and Dean go after Famine. I did love Famine telling Dean that he's basically dead inside.
Yeah.
Because he kind of is. And then kind of the episode. Oh, so they do end up killing Famine to get his ring. After Cass gets utterly distracted by meat. Not Dean meat, but meat. Meat. It was a weird episode, but it was, it had a point to it. But I think they could have. It's another one of those, like, could we talk a little bit more about Dean?
I mean,
he's dead inside.
Yeah.
Let's discuss this.
It's like they brush up against these topics and then don't. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Sam fan, so I know this is going to sound like I have a horrible bias, but so much time on Sam's issues. So little on Dean's.
Yeah. Yeah, we spend a lot of time on on Sam and his demon blood problem and
Yes.
feeling unworthy and but Dean's literally dead inside. Even Famine noticed. Come on.
If Famine's noticing, come on. Surely someone else can.
Somebody give this man a hug. You've been listening to part 1 of episode 5 of Supernatural on the Rocks. Stay tuned for part 2 wherever you get your podcasts. You've been listening to Supernatural on the Rocks, a podcast by OTR Productions. A huge thank you to our sound editor, Adriana, and our podcasts, who secretly run the show. For more episodes, download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and more at SPN on the Rocks. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to our Patreon account at patreon.com/GleeOnTheRocks. Subscribers get ad-free episodes, exclusive mini-episodes deep diving into the fandom, salty opinions, and more. So until next time, this has been The Road That Was.